Gertrude Street, and we pop on mustard for a quart of wine. Big old thing, right or wrong, in the cold and in the heat. We cross over Smith Street to the end of the line. Then we laugh and say, do anything to take away the pain. Trying to keep it down as it first went down in Charcoal Lane. Spending yarns and telling jokes, now the wine is tasting good. That's getting closer and closer to his hand. Have a sip and roll some smokes. We smoke tailor-made if we could, but we just may do with some city we planned. Then we go chugging and we start to grin when we have enough to do it again. But if things got hard, then we had to part for Charcoal Lane. Up Gertrude Street, we walk once more with just a few cents short. And we'd stop at the builders to see who we could see. Then we ride around until we score a flying on that Williams Port. Enough to take away our misery. And we don't get drunk, oh so drunk, and maybe a little insane. And we stagger home, all alone, and the next day we do it again. Have a revival in Charcoal Lane. I'm a survivor of Charcoal Lane.
Okay, good morning everyone. It's 8 a.m. here in Vietnam, and coming together as a Sangha to look at the dharma of the Buddha. This is a very inappropriate and inconvenient setting for expounding upon the Sixth Patriarch Sutra, really getting into Buddhism. This is a very bad, unideal environment for that, but we can try to make the very best use of it. Be reverent, have a sense of reverence. And see this as a very precious opportunity to understand Buddhism from the perspective of the Mahayana, especially from the perspective of Zen. So in that way, it's a very valuable opportunity. So we'll get right into chapter 1. I don't want to waste anybody's time here. Action and intention. In this first chapter of the sutra, the sixth patriarch gives his disciples a biographical sketch of himself. Action refers to the sixth patriarch's activities, and intention is that upon which he based his cultivation. Action and intention refers to the source, where it all began. Sutra. At one time, the great master arrived at Paolin. Magistrate Wei Chu of Xiao Chu and other local officials climbed the mountain and invited the master to come into the city to the lecture hall of the Ta Fan temple to speak the dharma to the assembly. When the master had taken his seat, the magistrate and over 30 other officials, more than 30 Confucian scholars, and more than 1,000 bhikshus, bhikshunis, Taoists, and lay people all made obeisances at the same time, wishing to hear the essentials of dharma. The great master said to the assembly, "Good knowing advisors, the self-nature of Bodhi is originally clear and pure. Simply use that mind, and you will straightway accomplish Buddhahood. Good knowing advisors, listen while I tell you about the actions and intentions by which we Nang obtain the Dharma." So the great master spoke to the assembly and said, "You are people with good roots and much wisdom. The self-nature of Bodhi is one's own originally enlightened, clear, and pure nature." So this is freedom from all of the complications, all of the stress, all of the muck, all of the ego in the mind. You know, it's kind of like just walking in the nature, seeing the clear blue sky, feeling the fresh air, and just being free. Especially in contrast to, you're hard at work, you've got the stress, you've got the sickness, you've got responsibilities, they're all piling up, they're all kind of getting tangled together, and now you walk out and you're just free, you're just at peace. This self-nature of Bodhi, one's own originally enlightened, clear, and pure nature, cannot be produced or destroyed, defiled or purified, increased or decreased. Use this mind. Don't use your false thinking mind. This is a disaster for our egos. This is a disaster for our sense of self, especially when it's based in understanding. You understand anything, you understand any appearance, let alone if it's good or bad, right or wrong, just that you understand what you're seeing, or you understand what you're hearing, or you understand what you're feeling, is actually your mind of understanding is the false thinking mind. So instead of using our false thinking mind, we use the mind of our self-nature. We use the mind that neither arises nor disappears, that cannot be added to, and that nothing can be taken away from it. So the most simple way you can say that is like the mind just being aware. But that's quite coarse and can be very vague. Using his own name in the formal style, the sixth patriarch calls himself Huineng, saying, "Now I will tell you how Huineng obtained the Dharma. Listen." Sutra. Huineng's stern father was originally from Fanyang. He was banished to Sinchao in Lingnan, where he became a commoner. Unfortunately, his father soon died, and his aging mother was left alone. They moved to Nanhai, and poor and in bitter straits, Huineng sold wood in the marketplace. Once, a customer bought firewood and ordered it delivered to his shop. When the delivery had been made and Huineng had received the money, he went outside the gate, where he noticed a customer reciting a sutra. Upon once hearing the words of this sutra, these words, one should produce that thought which is nowhere supported, Huineng's mind immediately opened to enlightenment. So how about your mind? Can your mind open to enlightenment in this thought? In these words? One should produce that thought which is nowhere supported. Excuse me, I have to order some matcha. Thereupon, Master Huineng, the sixth patriarch, is very famous in Zen Buddhism, very important in Zen Buddhism. He was uneducated, came from a poor family, and he delivered wood. At one time, he delivered wood to this shop, and outside of the shop, he heard someone reciting words from a sutra, like the Heart Sutra or the Diamond Sutra, very deep wisdom teachings in Buddhism. And so, upon hearing these words of the sutra, one should produce that thought which is nowhere supported. Huineng's mind immediately opened to enlightenment, so had this kind of spontaneous enlightenment experience. Thereupon, he asked the customer what sutra he was reciting. The customer replied, the Diamond Sutra. Then again he asked, "Where do you come from, and why do you recite this sutra?" The customer said, "I come from Tungchan Monastery in Chichao, Hunmei Province. There the fifth patriarch, the great master Hun Jen, dwells, teaching over 1,000 disciples. I went there to make obeisances and heard and received this sutra." The great master there constantly exhorts the Sangha and laity only to uphold the Dharma Sutra. Then they may see their own nature and straightway achieve Buddhahood. Huineng heard this and desired to go and seek the Dharma, but he recalled that his mother had no support. From past lives there were karmic conditions which led another man to give Huineng a pound of silver, so that he could provide clothing and food for his aging mother. The man instructed him further to go to Hunmei to call upon and bow to the fifth patriarch. Excuse me, I'm going to go take a cigarette break.